Okay, we're getting ready to install the 8.8 in the FC RX7, but you have to do a couple things first. So you have your cradle, paint it, do whatever you want with it, leave it bare. It's up to you. If you don't have a press, find somebody with a press. They recommend the Mazda Comp rubber bushings. So I press those in. It goes in from the top. That's the bottom. Once you have that installed, the metal part of that comes up to about right there, and so when you put the crown on, it will there'll be like a little bit of a gap. So what they recommend is to cut this down lower so it's not metal touching metal, and then they suggest you sand down the crown itself, and that way when you put this on top, it's not metal against metal, it's rubber against rubber. On the other side, you have another metal sleeve. You want to use a sanding disc and just sand that down. I use 60 grit sandpaper or sanding disc, and I got that pretty flat, but you want it below the rubber, so the rubber is hitting the frame and not the metal. Moving on to the differential. You have ears right here. You cut those off like that. You have this vent tube. I haven't decided if I'm going to run a vent tube or not. I'm not even sure if it's possible, but for the cradle to fit, you have to grind that off a little bit. I plugged it with RTV for right now. We'll see what I do in the future. There's a couple other things you have to grind off right up here. There's 3 like circles. Basically, that's the thickness you have to cut off. Then you have these fins right here, and you cut those off. I took this thing off just in case I nicked it, and then I put it back on. But so you grind that off, grind these 3 off. On the cover of the differential, you have like a little tab that comes out. It's like a little circle. Cut that in line with the way the differential goes. And what the directions aren't too clear about is there is a difference in height from here to there. So you have to cut this like that, and you also have to cut it in to make sure it's the same level as this. That way the cradle will sit flush. I did it already on this side, so you can see I just kind of cut it flush with the differential cover case. And then the only other thing that you have to do to this is right there. You can kind of see you have to grind that. Oh, you also have to sand this down with the sanding disc because you need that flat. So when this goes on, it has room. Yeah, it'll actually fit. If you don't do that, I don't think it's going to fit. Okay, so let's get everything together, and I'll be right back. Okay, and it is bolted together. It's a very nice piece, very, very tight fit, very high quality welds. I wish my welding was as good, but I will show you that once we get to the subframe. So there is some fabrication required with this kit, and we do have to do a little bit of welding. I'm not a very good welder, but I can get the job done. So just like with painting, welding is a process where a lot of it is in the prep work, so you don't want to have dirty welds. So clean. I kind of, you can kind of see the areas where I prepped. I'm gonna prep it more, I'm gonna clean it more, but kind of just put your pieces on there and see where they're gonna approximately be and clean past that. Also, don't forget to do the other side. So this is for the camber arm. That's going to bolt that in place. Weld that in place, and then the camber arm is going to bolt there. This is going to be the isolator holder. So that front isolator is going to be bolted together with this piece, and this is going to be secured to the subframe via welding. So as you can see, I sanded a bunch of stuff. I'm going to sand a little bit more just so I can get it, you know, dialed in, but make sure you do the underside also. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to bolt that in, bolt the subframe in, and then we're going to bolt the isolator in this piece together, and this is going to be sitting here. Now once we get the desired angle, I'm going to tack this into place, and then tack that into place, and then I'm going to drop everything and weld everything up. So this is a little bit of a process, but it should be well worth it. I'll get back to when I'm underneath the car and I'm tacking things together. All right, so I have the differential bolted to the chassis. When you're bolting this down, don't tighten it down so much where there's no more give, because we have to jack the front of the differential up to get the proper angle. Now, if you bolt this together first, then it's got a little play because it's a bushing. This part right here is going to lift off of the subframe itself, and then you're gonna have a big old gap. So what I did was I took this clamp, I got this thing in position, then I clamped that down, and then I tightened this down. And then I put these in. I don't think you really need them, but I'm just tightening everything down to where it normally would be, and then I'm going to start tacking things in place. So I'm going to run a couple tacks right here on the back, and then right there. That should be good enough for me to drop everything in, start welding everything up. All right, so I will get back to this once everything's tacked and welded. Okay, so everything is tacked in place. As you can see, I'm not a very good welder, but that's okay. My feelings are not hurt. TIG welding is hard, and it's especially harder upside down. So I'm going to do my best to make this look as pretty as possible, but you know, I got to take everything down, clean it better, because there's some contaminants in there still. And once I clean it, then I'm going to start welding everything up. So let me lower the subframe down once again and get everything ready, and I'll be back when I'm ready to weld everything up. Okay, so the differential is bolted up. It was a fairly easy process. This is, like I said earlier, this is very high quality stuff. So I finished welding the subframe. So you have to weld this portion on, and then you have to weld these two pieces on the outside. And then this is for the camber arm. But I also had to, I got my drive shaft in today. And let me show you the front flange. So you have to be able to disconnect the drive shaft from the front, because the old Turbo 2, the flange came out all the way, the casing came all the way out here, and the flange is right here. The flange is all the way back there, basically right on top of the subframe. So I had to do a little clearancing. This is a 1310 pinion flange on the drive shaft. Now I had to grind down this part to match this pinion flange, because it was sticking out about 1/8 of an inch. And as you can see there, hold on, let me see if I can get there is not a lot of room. It just clears. There's maybe 1/8, maybe 3/16 of clearance. I basically dropped the subframe, heated it up, hit it with a sledgehammer, made a little room, and then by grinding down that part right there to match this, it gave me enough room to spin freely. I'm probably going to drop the subframe one more time, clearance it a little bit more, but that's pretty much it. So let me show you what else I got in the mail today, because I had to switch things up for the axles.